right, I think it started. As the stream started, it didn't tell me it was live. Okay, I guess it is. Here we go, ready or not.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Yeah, that's kind of work.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Okay, I think the jingle singers are jumping on the chords again because they were a lot louder than that when we started. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radio's glowing in the dark. Here where you are and maybe where we are, I was listening to the Skip this afternoon. It came in for a little bit and then it went away. Then it came back again, and who knows? It might just come back one more time. My name is Dennis, Net Control Operator for this evening of the Old Tube Radio Network, a forum whereby we try to talk about and learn about and encourage our tube radio operators to key up on their vintage CB radios from 1958 through about 1978. And maybe give those who have not yet had a chance to experience the glow-in-the-dark radios a taste of what a CB radio might have sounded like back in 1962 or 1972 when these radios were brand new. First off, though, we like to see who's out there listening and say hello to our shortwave listeners, some of which may or may not have radios, but the point is to get everybody on the air, get a chance to key up, and say hello to everyone. Welcome to those at oldtuberadio.net, where we are beaconing live on the audio stream, and I think the video is semi up and running. This is, I'm out of uniform tonight because this is the almost first day of summer, and over in the green room, they're having the annual summer luau barbecue, whatever they do. So I wanted to be dressed appropriately, even though I'm probably not going to, by the time I get in there won't be any goodies left, but we'll see. Finding my roll call sheet, you can play along with the home game. As you can see, it's still very light outside. I had to attenuate all the light behind me until the sun goes down, which will probably be in about 30 minutes. So we are looking for our current 00, and I believe that is Mr. DDX, who is, I don't know. I don't know if he's allowed into the new Radio Shack yet. I think the fire marshal has to come and approve that the fire extinguisher is working. I can hear you. I can hear you fine. I didn't know if you had gotten the approval on the Radio Shack yet or not. All right. Well, it looks like it's coming along nice, and we have you. We've got you checked in here. As soon as I click the button, here we go. Thanks. SWL number 1 also checked in. If you're playing the home game, this is our 7th week in the 8-week roster of the 20th day in June of 2020, the year that never seems to end. SWL number 2. I have to scroll up on my list to see Mr. OBP. Why isn't it showing your comments? Facebook, and it's doing weird stuff. It's not showing comments or all sorts of things. But I do see there OBP. All right. He said he is under the weather. So he has checked in and checked out. So if you're watching the replay, Kevin, I hope you are feeling better when you see this. So go do what you need to do. What do they say? Have chicken soup, take 2 aspirin, and call me in the morning. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL3. Got a proxy check in for Rob. SWL4. SWL5. SWL6. SWL7.
SWL7 checking in and wishing number 2 good health and happiness also there. I hope you get better.
Okay, well, sometimes the first big heat waves can make things Make your body say, I don't want to do this at all. All right, we've got you checked in, and you're sounding very good.
Wow, thank you.
Then we go way over to SWL 13. I guess I should go over to this. I've got about 13 windows open on the computer here, all of which actually do something. So once I get the comments to kick up, I can see who has checked in at oldtubradio.net. But for some reason, the comments are being very slow. Having a lot of weird things going on here. All right, here we go. Just seeing if Mike had checked in earlier. I don't see his name there, but I will keep an eye out. SWL 14. SWL 15. The big town of Easton sometimes checks in via Facebook. That would be Fred. I hope the big potato market is open and serving those big slushies that they have. SWL 16. And saying hello from, looks like the video page. Eric, SWL 17, says the antenna is still down. If it's in horizontal, if it's laying on the ground, it might be the right polarity to work some skip. So we won't hear you here in Fresno, but maybe they will hear you in Fresno, Texas. Eric, you are checked in. SWL 18, I have a proxy check-in from Mikey from the Facebook side. SWL 19. SWL 20. Wait, there was a carrier, but there was no audio. Was that the basic 20? All right, I'm pretty sure that was you, 20. Give me a double key if that was you. Okay, we got you. But as you can see, there are no flashing lights and no wiggle meters going on. So we will check that out when the appropriate time comes in. The Old Tube Radio Network directed net roll call run page 1, such that it is. And looking for SWL 21. I know JT is out there. He was hosting Old Radio Night tonight, and I thought I saw, if I can get the right window, a comment from said item. Yes. The Boogaloo Boy outfit. Well, this is the luau outfit in the theme of the. Oh, you know what? They just handed me something here. They just came over and handed me this. It is a. I guess you call that a Hawaiian lei. I won't go any further. Can I put over the headphones? There we go. All right. Except it's wrapped around the headphones. But that's what's going on in the green room when you all check in tonight. So make sure you get some of whatever we're doing. And Mr. JT from the Wasama Swamp. Let me see if I have. Let me go over to the audio board. I may not have anything. Let me see if I have. Oh, I have me. First of all, let me get rid of me. I have me. First of all, let me get rid of me. There's like a whole bunch of me, so let me get rid of that. Good. And then let me go over to the vault that should have Old Radio Night in it. Here we go.
All right, have a good one. Blue Thunder 21, I'm gone.
See, I don't know how he does it. It's just his.
Hey, Blinker, you on there? You on the live show? I'm back out.
Yeah, his radio is just full of skip, and he was on the Pierce Simpson Bearcat tonight. That looks a lot, JT, that looks like my, what do I have? I have a Pierce Simpson Simba. It's similar to that. The Bearcat looks like it's a lot beefier. It's got a lot more controls. But it sounded good tonight. You were kind of skipping around the channels. Just being mean to everybody. Just trying to shoot that skip. All right, you're sounding good, and for those who don't know, 21 runs the old, he's been doing it for a long time, runs the Old Radio Night, where you may get a vintage radio or an old radio or an even older radio. Thanks, JT. Over to SWL 22. SWL 23.
Hey, Dennis.
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Oh, yeah, I've got some audio now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, over.
Hey, mic went out, but I'll figure it out. Okay, I'll check this one in later.
Okay, yeah, the audio sounds very good right now. So you have carrier and the audio to go with it.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I'll check back with you later.
All right, we will check back with you later. We will be here later. SWL 24. Where did I see? I saw Joseph in there. He was checking in at oldtuberadio.net. What you can do if you can get if you can get all the controls to work. Sometimes I have problems doing that. So, Joseph, we got you checked in. Over to SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in.
All right, are you staying cool out there? I bet the swimming pool is getting used today.
Actually, the wife was in it this afternoon, and it's not that bad. Very comfortable. Now that the sun's gone down, so it's very, very comfortable and nice in the backyard, and also here in the shack. So not bad at all, Dennis.
Okay, that's the way it should be here on what is almost the first day of summer in the Central Valley, and I guess everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere for that matter. Thanks for checking in. Over to, and I do have the 2-meter up. I think I can hear stuff. SWL 27. SWL 28. And that is, Chrissy, did I see an item of interest? I thought I did. Let me go. I've got about 3 screens to check, and I can almost think that I saw. Oh, yes, it is. It has not scrolled up my screen yet. Chrissy is checking in and saying hello to all the SWLs and Old Tube Radio operators. Thanks for joining us tonight. Out there in KF7 land. In fact, I was hearing, speaking of 7 land, when the skip was in, I tuned to the 10-meter beacon frequencies, which I do, and there was. Oh, and I took the call off of my screen. It was a 7 call in Washington, and they were doing a Q code. It was a QRA, which I'd never heard before. It was QRA, and then they would give the call, and QRA means my call is. So I actually learned something, and believe it or not, they were transmitting at 1.5 watts. Just kind of coming in quite nice out there in 7 land. So hello, Chrissy, and all the others out there in 7 land tonight. Let's go over to SWL 29, where I should be doing a proxy, I bet. All right, just checking some controls here. Over to SWL 30. SWL 31. Robert Tracy. Now, I haven't even looked to see who is out there listening tonight. Starting from, let's go way up in the balcony. Fish Camp, you're always on there. The Unknown SWL, I see you with the paper bag over your head. Reedley, California. Dallas, Georgia. Just kind of taking it easy up there tonight after probably some contesting or something. Hello to the UK, Seaside, California. Where is Seaside? I wonder if that's Mitch. I think that's too far south. Riverside, our faithful listener out there in Riverside. Hello to Fresno, Hendersonville, Tennessee. Okay, there's one of the Hendersonville gang, so I will get Robert and Teresa checked in. You might have said hi on the video, but I probably missed you. Who else is there? Canby, Oregon, coming up to you. Somerville, South Carolina, right in the middle, right near the popcorn machine down there. Centerville, Virginia, and Gulf Breeze, Florida. Woodland Park, Colorado, waiting for the skip to come in. San Francisco, that could be X4000. We will get X4000 checked in tonight. Tulare, Derby, New York. Derby, New York cannot get any closer to the footlights here. They get in during, I think they've got a special pass because they come in during the testing session. Maybe they've got one of those old Tube Radio Union cards and they can get in the door anytime. Okay, 31 is checking. SWL 32. SWL 33, that's myself. Bozo Control, Mr. Announcer, the Jingle Singers. Where's the honking proboscis? There we go. All right. That proboscis always just totally messes up the OR band. SWL 34. SWL 35. Looking to see if 35 has stopped by, which he often does, but not yet, it appears. Okay, there was a transmission with a weird staticky audio. Try it again. Or not. We'll be here. If you see that things are working correctly, we'll get you checked in. SWL, let me call 36 again. SWL 37.
37 here, Dennis. Good evening.
And hello, radio. It is a good night to be in the air-conditioned movie room.
That it is, but it's getting warm in here in the kitchen right now because I'm making a peach cobbler.
Ah, sounds good. I've got, what do I have? I have carrot cake after the show, but I didn't make it, unfortunately. This peach cobbler sounds better. All right, we'll go to it and turn on the exhaust fan. That'll help.
Absolutely. Plus, I got the good old vanilla ice cream to go on top of it once we get it out. Talk to you a bit.
Okay, we will be around tonight in the old Tube Radio Network. I've been not checking the meters, so I have no idea what's going on with the transmitter here. And it seems like no matter where I set something, whenever I look at it 10 minutes later, it will be different. 37 is checked in. SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40. He was in there earlier. He's probably taking a nap. I'm gonna get. He was out riding a bike today in the heat, so he's probably recuperating. We get Larry checked in from a crossband. SWL 41. SWL 41 is Road Dog 507, and there he is. You couldn't make it easier there, 507. All I have to do is look right on the screen, and there you are. AC 244 from AC 135. I've just been busy this weekend, so I didn't even try any lower 16 when conditions were in. Out there in the Hudson Valley of New York, so. You're definitely in my skip zone on sideband. We might be able to chat with you. Let's try SWL 42. I heard somebody. Was that 43? How about SWL 43? SWL 44, who I heard earlier when he checked in as 00. And he's still there, sounding good. Well, if you're not on the Radio Shack, you have got the vehicle pointed the right way for sure, because you are definitely louder than I've heard you the last couple of weeks. Let's try SWL 45.
Got a good night, Dennis. 45.
And likewise, Paul, hope you and Kelly are staying cool up there today. You are sounding good, and if you can get into the Radio Shack, we will be chatting with you when we start glowing in the dark. SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47. SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hey, good evening, Dennis. 49er here, checking in, waving a hand. Sweet Country Mama's over here, waving a hand as well. So thank you for the check-in, and hope all you guys are having a super fine one.
Yeah, staying cool. I guess we're going to have a lot of heat here for the next week, but hey, it's summer, and this is the Central Valley. SWL 49, Brian's at the microphonium, and just to the left and a little to center, the Sweet Country Mama as well, heard over your old Tube Radio Network. Thanks. SWL 50. SWL 51. SWL 52. SWL 53.
53 checking in. Everybody have a happy Father's Day.
That's right. Tomorrow is Father's Day. So do something nice for your dad. And I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Whether he can see you do it or not. He knows. He knows when you're being good. He's like Santa Claus, right? Going to page 3. Before I do that, let me answer a few questions here. Randy, where are you? Oh, he's in Gulf Breeze. All right, Randy in Florida. Hello. And I didn't see your post, JT, causing HARP to shut down due to broadcasting from the Wasama Swamp. You've seen their antenna, right? I think you've still got a better ground rod than HARP does. And he says, Happy Pappy's Day. No conditions to Cali tonight from WWS 101. He's monitoring 27,370 out there in Gulf Breeze. And Bob and Steve, the front office mentioned that there could have been a delivery, which I did not notice. I ran out there. So no deliveries from the front office, although I have a note saying to be on the lookout. The carpet is in the lounge, and I have actually put some plastic over the carpet so that all this barbecue stuff that they're doing will not mess up the brand new carpeting. Soundproof on the ceiling. That's what I need in here. But they get it over there in the thing. The Jingle Singers are painted the wall a light green. Who likes green? I think Chrissy likes green. She likes the green radio. So we've got a green green room, which is apropos. And it does look good. I agree. Let's try SWL 54. Putting a check in for Mr. Board Jammer, who is retired, as they say, or the number is retired. Something is retired. SWL 55. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
And putting in a good signal, as always. So the antenna and the coax is still working for you, Phil. Thanks. SWL 57. And 57 is Worldwide Sidebander 1942. That was a good year out there in central Kentucky, and that's Brown Dog Audio. And the screen I should look at for that is right there. And he's got a happy Father's Day wave from everyone at the Brown Dog Audio Control Station tonight. Beaconing here, well, he was probably beaconing all over the bands, but right now beaconing here at Old Tube Radio Network at 27085 in the Central Valley, oldtuberadio.net on your Universal Media Net Web, and the whatever it is that we call the video thing that stays up for a while. And Chrissy says green is in, even if it's out of season. Well, I don't know what you would call the luau shirt tonight. It's kind of green. People might say it's blue or teal or something like that, but it's probably as close as I'm going to get. 357. Hello, radio. Over. There is 357. Sounding good here in Central California tonight in the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's go to another station that always sounds good. SWL 60. And I'll call SWL 59, which would be a skip call if the band was running. SWL 59. SWL 60.
Yeah, thanks a bunch there, Dennis. SWL 60 checking in, Big Jake's base, DX 2527, and Mr. Louis 93 says hello to the gang.
Okay. I didn't hear him. Sometimes I can hear him, sometimes I can't, but I will make sure that he gets checked in with everybody else. Thanks.
You're welcome, Dennis.
SWL 61.
Hey, Dennis, 61 checking in. I hope you can hear me tonight.
Yeah, sounding good. Sounding good on, and well over the noise here on the S meter tonight. Thanks for checking in, Dean.
Thank you, sir.
Gotta remember to refresh my comments. SWL 62.
Evening time, OTR. Hi, Dennis. This is 6-2, checking in from downtown Clovis. On frequency and on time.
Okay, on frequency, on time, and sounding good from Clovis tonight, getting Clovis on the map. Thank you, sir. And let me say, oh, there is 51. All right. Dave said he's got a high noise floor tonight, high noise level. Okay, I probably would have heard you had you heard me. So we get 305 from Sanger in. Let me get that button clicked on. So thanks, Dave. I'm a little slow looking at the comments sometimes, and then sometimes they scroll off my screen as I am paying attention to all sorts of wacky things. Who was it that asked? Somebody asked, what did I call my horn? Oh, that's the honking proboscis. It's actually not a horn, if you will. It's the honking proboscis of Bozo Control as he squeezes. What did Fire Sign Theater used to be? As he gives the wheeze a squeeze and really messes up the ore bend. So that's the question to the horn question. Who else? A cassette player like Bearcat 23. But yeah, did they ever put a cassette player? They put the clocks in there. I guess if you had it in one of those CBs in the car with the radio, you might have had an 8-track with it. There is Wayne in Glen Ellen, Virginia, says he enjoys the memories of the old days of Citizen Band Radio. You have come to the right spot, Wayne, because our tube radio operators will be helping us out tonight with their classic rigs for sure. And Sevenland is hearing Northern California on some of the bands. It could. We are having a super heat wave here, so we might get some ducting during our gray line, which is going to be pretty soon. I'll open up the window back there when we switch modes. The Old Tube Radio Network trying to get through the SWL roll call so we can check in those radios looking for... I know I checked in Joe, and then I turned my page before I should turn it. So, and we checked in Dean, and we checked in Rex, SWL 63. That's Bubba and all the New York crew. We got you checked in. SWL 64. SWL 65.
SWL 65 checking in.
Hey, sounding good live and direct here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Eric, we got you checked in.
Thank you. Got my new setup all up and running. Hope it sounds good, and happy Father's Day, everybody out there, and have a good evening.
Yeah, it sounds good. Sounds great. It looks good on the S meter, and you can give yourself a radio check by watching the video back or going to oldtuberadio.net and clicking on the archived audio of this. This would be the SWL roll call for 6/20/20, I guess is the way it's going to show up on the item. Let's try SWL 66. SWL 67. Oh, you know what? SWL 67 is there. That should be... You know, I'm not looking. I'm not looking up in the balcony. Bill likes to hang out up there. I think it's... No, it shouldn't be cooler. It is definitely not cooler in the balcony tonight. But Bill out there somewhere near, at or near Canby, Oregon, where, listen in. They're saying that we could be getting some short hop stuff tonight. Maybe we'll hear you. SWL 68.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, over.
Yeah, proxy for Eric 72.
Okay, we will proxy in Eric out there in Clovis, I believe, 72. Got it, over.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing here from SWL 68, SWL 69. Oh, I will check in. That's Kenny. He usually stops by one of the various venues, whether it's the live one here or the videotape playback. So anybody want to say hi to Kenny, do it now, because he'll be listening at some point.
This is me, Joe. Have a fine one. Happy Father's Day.
All right. Sounding good. 360 and Joe and all the rest. Had to get some. What is the temperature in here? 84. That's cool. Oh, here's the guy that sometimes does the Wednesday night sideband for Net Control, SWL 70.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead.
Can I get a late check-in, please, Dennis, for 55?
Okay, you know what? I think I might have skipped some people. So let me go back to the top of the page, and you are one of them, SWL 55. I got you checked in, sounding good.
Thank you. You too, Dennis.
All right, and let me see if I missed SWL 58. Okay, I'll have to play back myself and give myself a demerit. If I didn't call 58, but I didn't see the check-in, and I thought he might have been listening because Jeremy does the Friday night sideband net. All right, so we've got Kenny's in, called Mark. Let's go to one of the Mr. Announcers. He's the Mr. Announcer for somewhere else, SWL 71. That is Stan out there in Dallas, Georgia. I know I saw him on the thing. Boy, I don't know why my page refresh is so slow. And there he is, checking in on the RCA 44 microphonium. Eric, we've got checked in from moments ago. And there is SWL 35. Mr. Bill, if you're listening in, Bill, I will get you checked in over. Okay, we will continue. We've got the tube radios coming up shortly, so don't go away. Corey, thank you. When and where? You know, I neglected to say that. When and where is the Friday SSB net? And that is a good question because it is on 36 lowers, 27365. It is at 8 o'clock in the p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for California, for the West Coast. So it is very possible to have conditions. So you should, even if you're not in the local area, you should definitely stop by 36 lower, 27365 on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And listen in for Jeremy and the gang. It's called the Ditch Banks Sideband Net. And I'm sure we'd love to get you checked in and see what's going on in the world of sideband stuff.
Break OTR?
The break OTR, go ahead.
Yes, SWL 40, now checking in.
Okay, I had sort of checked you in from an earlier encounter on 2 meters, but here you are on the 11-meter band and sounding good. So I hope you have recuperated and refreshed from all the heat.
Unfortunately, I have, fortunately, but unfortunately, the AC unit is in need of repair.
Ooh, this is in need of repair frequency. Do you have like refrigeration or evaporation AC?
It's refrigerative type, and it was just worked on a few weeks ago with a bill of $2,000.
Oh, all right. Well, that's never a good thing.
Nope.
All right. Well, think cool thoughts, and then give them hell. All right. The old Tube Radio Network. We've got the Tube Radio operators in the wings here, having a good time over there in the green room. With the that's where we're dressed tonight. With the barbecue, the start of summer OTR barbecue luau and whatever. And we're taking check-ins from the SWLs. 40 is in, 72 is in, 71 is in. How about SWL 73? SWL 74. And she is out by the pool, so I'm giving, probably with my tie in hand, so I'm giving 74 a check-in. And Larry Brown Dog Audio said if he was anywhere close, he'd run by and take a look because he's an HVAC tech. So, and I guarantee you, if he took a look at it, if he put his magic touches on it, probably wouldn't have to be redoing it yet again. 75, SWL 75. SWL 77. SWL 78. SWL 79.
79, checking in.
All right, Mr. DC, I thought I heard you tuning up earlier, and I thought we're going to get a very rare WRW sighting, and I think we just did.
Thank you.
There we go. All right, and let's try SWL 80. Over to page 4. Those patient people. SWL 81. I'll keep an eye out for Steve Areno. He tends to sneak in on one of my pages here. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let me stop here. 357 snuck in there. Thank you for the clarification. Check the playback. You definitely popped in on the audio stream. 357, who's in BC, Canada, who has been listening in a long time on the digital stream. Probably one of our first commenters when we went to the Facebook site. So band is open. Jumping in, 357. Good to hear you on. And I should have realized. Who would have thunk? So the band is open. Be listening. We would definitely like to hear from you tonight. Let's try. Did I ask for SWL 81? Yeah, last minute DX for sure. All right, proxy in 85, which I will do. How about SWL 82? In fact, I think I should proxy in 82, and I should proxy in 58. All right, and then we go to SWL 84. And I have a note to proxy in 84. Might be listening. If you're listening there, Jerry. And good evening to you. I hope all is well. SWL 85. I think the noise is high on the outskirts tonight in Reedley and Sangertown. SWL 86, 87, and 88, which is, of course, the mountain-made Tandy Girl and the Snowy Owl, respectively, all getting checked in. Over to SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 92. Waving a hand, saying hello earlier. SWL 93, Louie, if you're listening, we got you. SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
And 98 is checking in, where it's definitely feeling like Fresno. It's time to head to the coast.
Thank you.
Over to SWL 103, Jeff. Cheesy Easy 103. I've got a check in from him from Facebook, which I'll do. Over to SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. This is 109 checking in.
Hey, good to hear you. The station that sounds awesome on sideband on Friday nights can even sound great when he puts both sidebands together and throws in an AM carrier. 109, Crawdad, you are checked in. Over. That is one loud station up there. Over to SWL 110. SWL 111. It's a S9 skip. Well, at the time, it was an hour ago from Dixie, but 111 is checking in from Reedley. We got you, Bob, if you are listening or at some point listening. Over to SWL 113. SWL 114.
114 checking in.
Wayne is at the Microphonium. Rickshaw, we've got you checked in. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Can you proxy in the two Dick-Stacks of Biola, 58 and 82?
Yeah, you know, great minds think alike. I just did that when I turned the page and I saw Ron's name and no call. So we've got 58 and 82 in. Thanks.
Thank you.
And over we go to, well, it should be easy. It's a numerical order, right? SWL 128. And that is John Lee, of course, out there in Fairfax, Virginia. We've got you checked in. Haven't been getting, I wonder what I guess the weather is good all over. I haven't been getting any wacky weather reports from anybody who is also a couple unknown SWOs. There's a New Hampshire station. You were in last week there. Over from New Hampshire. Kalama, Washington, Kalama. It's like Kalamazoo. I've got a gal in Kalamazoo, or even in Kalama, Washington, listening in tonight, waiting for the band to open up. I bet if the sideband channels are happening, we might be getting some stuff down here. If you go to 10 meters, listen for a beacon. It's right at 28,300, like 28,299.99. And I believe it's K6FRC. That is here in the Central Valley somewhere. So if you hear the K6FRC beacon, things might be open our way. Let's go over to SWL 131. SWL 133. SWL 135.
SWL 135 checking in.
Hey, Mr. Green Arrow is there, and whatever you're on sounds good, looks good. I have a feeling we might be talking to you about it in just moments, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, I sure hope so. See ya.
Let's see, and X4000 is in. I thought X4000 was around. Dave says, anyone know if there's an SDR on the web where we can hear OTR? You know, and the answer is Brown Dog is correct. There isn't. The closest one that we have, I believe, is in San Jose, which is too far away, way too far away. Well, no, it's too close, actually. It's probably about 120 miles, and so we would have to have some type of backscatter or something, and then it would not sound good at all. So there is, as far as I know, as of yet, there's no awesome SDR that's up on the big linkage of SDR stuff. So you're kind of stuck with the thing that is oldtuberadio.net. And I know what you're saying, because you'd like to hear all the other stations checking in as well, for sure. That's why at least we try to do the audio thing here. So if it's almost like being there. Next we have SWL 137. Up in Corscoll, SWL 145. Yeah, Dave, that one in Half Moon Bay is I want to say that's it. That's the Santa Cruz. I said San Jose, but I think that's correct. That one's really nice. That's a great one for if you want to listen into 75 or 40 meters at night for the West Coast here. Usually gets everything in there. Is Neil on? I don't think I saw the other Kakalaki. Let's try SWL 147. I will refresh my comments. Up to Corscoll, SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis.
All right. Sounding good. Still hanging in there. Still hanging in there after all these years, beaconing down to Midtown Fresno. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Dennis.
You know, I take it for granted. We have been doing this net, Old Tube Radio Network, in one form or another for the last 35 years at least. And I am just one of many net controllers. And some of these stations that you hear check in have basically been doing that, whether they're on a radio or you're saying hello, for that same amount of time. And occasionally we get people that go out of the area and come back 20 years later, turn on the radio, and it's still happening. So that goes to show you CB radio has not faded away. We're still out there. Let's try SWL 226. And I'll put up the late to check-in thing. I don't know if there's such a thing as a late check-in as long as I can hear you, but we are listening. Okay, I'm going to be right back. I got to set up for the tube radio thing, check a few deals. I'm actually gonna run down the steps here to the other studio and see what they're doing, make sure they're not wrecking stuff, and then I'm gonna be back. And when I return, we will be doing that tube radio thing. So if you've got a radio to check in, I bet it's warming up. Have it standing by, because we'll be talking about it. The Old Tube Radio Network. What do I want to put up on the screen here? I don't know. Let's give. I guess I could put the S meter up there. That's what I'll do. And I will be back shortly here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Franco TR.
and like it or not, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Well, they sound ready. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, here at 27085. That's Channel 11. If you're out of this area of the Central Valley, you might lend an ear to your possible Skipland radios here tonight and see if you hear anything beaconing in that sounds like classic radios on Channel 11. It just very well could be your Old Tube Radio Network. Hi, my name is Dennis, the net control for this evening's version of What did it sound like back in the day, right? What did it sound like when all the radios had tubes? And we're going to try and recreate that perhaps tonight with our tube radio operators as we ask for your radio check-ins. OTR is listening.
135, 135.
25.
All right. Get the transmitter to key 135. Step up into the air chair. We'll be right with you, Cliff. Hello to Paul. I'm sorry. Actually, I think I did hear Paul. Did I hear Paul in there, 45?
That's correct, 45.
Okay, I was right. I wrote the numbers down from what I thought I heard. And we've got Paul. You'll be radio number 2. There is all sorts of stuff going on in the green room tonight, so have at it over there, and you will also be able to chat with Jerry, who I think I also heard. So we'll get you for number 3, radio number 3, Jerry.
Roger, roger.
All right, grabbing those. I also want to make sure that I've got the stuff that's supposed to be up and running, which it looks like it is. All right, we'll go back to that. And I will say, I also need this page right here. There we go. I think I'm ready. I know this station is ready. Hello, Cliff.
Hello, Dennis.
Well, you'd think after so many years I would figure out how to do this in a more efficient manner. Right at 9 o'clock. All right, you're at the 9 o'clock hour, or what is it, 4 o'clock UTC with your glow-in-the-dark radio. Over.
Indeed, I am. SWL 135 here with a radio from Winnisquam, New Hampshire. This is the Trem Titan. 10 tubes, all 23 channels, crystal-controlled transmit and VFO receive. Back to you.
Back to me in the studio. And I have a picture that says Tram Titan from the collection of Cliff, SWL 135. I am kicking myself. I had the chance to actually pick up one of those when Bill was leaving for Cheyenne and a few others, and it was like at the really wrong time for me to be spending money on radios, and so I let it pass. But I had that in my little tube radio shopping cart many times that day, but I never brought it home. So here's a bigger picture, and we'll get some big audio to go with it. Go ahead. It sounds great.
I'm glad it's still working. I don't remember the last time I checked it in. And I thought, well, you know how I judge these things? I try to determine the depth of the dust on the radio, and that times how many times I've forgotten what that radio is, and that somehow equals, I haven't checked it in quite a while. So I thought I would. If I recall my picture, it is pictured with the original, comes with the radio desktop type microphone with the Tram meatball in the middle. It's some sort of Turner affair. I'm not sure the model, but it looks like it was made by Turner for Tram. That's not what you're listening to. I have the old black and white plastic, unamplified Pace microphone, Papa Alpha Charlie Echo Pace, because it was determined that it sounded the best of the two on this particular radio. I was wondering if you could indulge me in perhaps a test, because I don't know if we've done this since you started this, the whole internet thing where I can actually go back and listen. So it'd be interesting for me to hear what both microphones sound like after all this time.
We can do that. I also have the Orban loudness meter now, so I can give you what they call an LKFS meter between the two, which is a loudness indication, not necessarily an indication of quality, but we'll add that in as well. So we're talking to Mr. Green Arrow Cliff, who is on the Tram Titan. Let me go back to the picture of the radio. Oops. There it is. I want to go to the extreme close-up and see. Oh, you can actually read that. All right. You can see the TRAM and the little red meatball on the microphonium. So let me get this straight. You're going to try the two different microphoniums. Is that correct?
That is correct. This is the desktop microphone as pictured. The original mic that comes with this radio. 1 2 1 2 1 2. I can already see my modulation light isn't blinking quite as hard as it does with the little plastic crummy microphone. So we'll have that as a baseline, the base type desktop microphone.
Okay, got it. And the Orban meter showing minus 21, minus 20. Just for reference, the higher the number, the higher the minus number, the more loudness it perceives. You're much mellower with that microphonium, but as you noted, it doesn't seem to have as much drive. So back to you for check number 2.
Okay, and this is the one I had originally plugged in. This is the black and white plastic unamplified Pace microphone. I don't have a model number on it. It's just a big, Car 54, where are you looking old mic I picked up at, oh darn it, where was that place downtown? It was in a box of microphones in the basement at, oh gosh darn it, that guy's place downtown. So 1212, suffering succotash, sibilance. How's that?
It is good. It is louder. It punches more. Let's see. What are the people listening in? Louder, but not as clear. So it's a little. It's got some edginess to it, but not bad. But I think probably as we determined prior, for general usage, especially if someone is not getting a good 10 over signal, that audio is probably going to be the one you want to use. Unless someone's real close and it's late night and you want to do the mellow chat, go back to the Tram microphone. And Harvey just chimed in, and he is correct, as I was blanking as well. It's called Cut Rate. Yes, Cut Rate Electronics. Over.
Yes, it's been so long I forgot the name. Yeah, Bill at Cut Rate. I think his name was Bill. Boy, it's been a long time now. I got a whole bunch of microphones that I've plugged into these radios over the years from that guy. And knobs and tubes and parts and stuff here and there. I kind of miss that place. It was an adventure.
I wasn't there a lot, but I did go down there, when it was kind of dark and, like you said, boxes full of stuff. I think when I put up my first tower, and we're talking 30 years ago now, or 35 years ago, when I put up the tower, I went there and found these egg insulators that were wrapped in this brown paper. I don't know how old they were, probably from the 50s. And it was just what I was looking for. I needed some insulators for the guy wires, and he just had a whole box full of them, and the price was right, and I think they're still probably connected to the guy wire somewhere that aren't connected to the tower.
Oh yeah, I built my first dipole with a nice big ceramic dog bone insulator, which remember back in the 80s, I couldn't find them anywhere. Not made out of the big white ceramic ones. And I got to make my first dipole with that. Like he had good stuff there, no doubt about it.
Yes, and then I don't know if that's the second place it used to be. Someone used to tell me there was a field, or you drive out to a field or something. So I think that was his nice place. Radio number 1. Let me put the picture back up of the Tram Titan, a great radio. I really like the look of this radio. It has the large S meter that they used for the TR-27 series. I like the rack handles. It's the good in between to something that looks almost amateur radio type, ham radio type, but still has a nice look where you could still put it in the living room. Okay, it doesn't have wood around it, but it's a good radio. It sounds great, too. The Tram Titan. Titan was all steel, all tube chassis, AM only, with great transmit and receive Collins mechanical filter in the front end. Sam's Photofax number book 13. And it says one sold on eBay for parts and non-working for $129 back in 2018. Give us another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by. There are other radios wanting to key up, but I think this is a good way to start things off. Over.
Oh, thanks for letting me switch out the microphones. It'll be interesting to hear. Oh, and, you gave me a reading on your meter, your Orban meter, on my Tram Titan meter. It goes up into the green for some reason. I think this is the only radio I have that you can get this on there, Dennis. You are 60 over.
Don't you love those meters that go 60 over? I was looking. I can't get close enough, but I see the green area. I just went to the full screen close-up. And let's see, Brown Dog Audio. Yes, the extraneous audio is the 2-meter radio. It's a Yaesu, an old FT736R, and that's Harvey and some others keying up on 14655. In future episodes, I would really like to work on an Echolink where that frequency for the duration of the net would be up on an Echolink node. For those that had the ability to do Echolink, you'd be able to actually jump in and get on the FM frequency with the other gang here. Could be fun, but that's another logistic nightmare that we are working on. Radio number 1 tonight from Cliff. Good to hear Cliff on the air, and I will say that a lot of the pictures that we showed that are really cool, like the one we're looking at, that the radio is on, the S meter is lit, all the lights are running. If it's transmitting or receiving, come from the photographic genius of SW1135, and we thank him for letting us use those pictures. So thanks for bringing by the radio tonight. The Old Tube Radio Network. My list of lists say, actually, I just look and see who's jumping into the air chair, and it is Paul from North Fork. Hello, Mr. Falcon.
Hi, Dennis. I want to check in my General Radio telephone, dual range MC3.
Oh, we're turning the hands of time back even more. Normally we have the 5 or the 6. I think we had, was it the 4 last week? So let us go back to the dual range MC3, and I'm thinking that we might actually be approaching very early 1960 for a general radio telephone. I have a picture. I don't know if it's from your collection or not, but this also has the rack handles. It looks a little bit more utility than the Tram, but it's sounding good to take a transmission over.
Okay, that's my radio. That's one of the blew the transformer on the thing. So I wired over to DC. But anyway, this is another one. Now this thing I'm talking about does not have the crystals below the meter there. Other than that, they're the same. So anyway, manufactured in 1960. And I believe this is the first one that has the tone switch. I'll turn it on for you if it's still working a little bit later on. Back to you, Dennis.
Seeing if I can bring up some info about it. I'm looking. Okay, I got the big screen up. Yeah, there's the switchable transmit, receive. You can go VFO or crystal, which was kind of interesting way they give you a choice on that. Obviously, you had to be crystal controlled on the transmit. The S meter is interesting. It doesn't look... Okay, I guess it has 30 over. I was going to say it didn't look like a standard S meter. I thought maybe it was in dBm, but it is not. And then we see the tone signal switch. 1960, like Paul said, so the early issue for General Radio Telephone, the Class D citizen service, I think went into effect late 1958, and probably people got on the air with radios early 1959. And like the days of early automobiles in the 1910s and 1920s, there were a lot of manufacturers, just like there were for automobiles, and slowly but surely they sort of morphed into about 2 or 3 companies. But back in the heyday, which is what we focus on here at the Old Tube Radio Network, you will hear all sorts of interesting made-in-the-USA manufacturers. Take another transmission. Over.
Okay. Well, I'm also using, you can't see the picture real good. I got to cut the microphone off. I'm using the same mic as that one. It's ceramic industrial voice, checkerboard, polished aluminum microphone. Very heavy little mic. Not big at all, but it's heavy. Anyway, most of the generals use ceramic microphones on these radios. A few of them I had a crystal, but that's about it. Anyway, it's got all the basics on it. It's got 6 transmissions, 4 receive crystals, and a VFO receive. So you can do about anything you want to with a little thing in that tube screen. Other than that, it's clean radio, and I've got one more next week to stick in, hopefully a little bit over. Thanks, Dennis, for checking it.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. If you look above the VFO on the left side, you see where it says dual range, MC3, those that are looking at the photo that we have. And I was checking the notes here to see if it mentioned anything what the dual range might refer to. But I don't see that. 6-volt DC, 12-volt DC, 115-volt AC, so it was able to go mobile and base, which really all the early radios did that, because that's how your license was supposed to work. You got your call, and you were supposed to be talking with units of your same license. It wasn't meant to be chatting with others for a hobby-type communication. So a lot of the radios were multi-purpose to go base or mobile. I don't see anything about the dual range. Are you still there, Paul? I was just wondering if the tone signal actually works on that MC3. Over.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit. I'll turn the thing on. That might be working.
Yeah, it's working great. It had to warm up a little bit. It's almost like it was resting, and then it realized it was on, and it had to do a performance, and it did quite well. I see there is a schematic available at oldtuberadio.com under General Radio Telephone MC3, so good deal. Thanks for radio number 2, and we'll log that in at 9:10. The General Radio Telephone MC3 dual range radio. Who is next? I see... Reluctantly. They must be serving some good stuff down there. Reluctantly jumping into the air chair. Hello, 25.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III 2-piece radio. Boy, the red on-the-air light is on, and everything's lit up, and hopefully it's making it your way. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
It is beaconing into Midtown Fresno to the Old Tube Radio Network quite nicely tonight. Audio sounds good. I mean, I don't think I've ever told anybody checking with the Browning that the audio doesn't sound good. I think it's impossible to get bad audio out of a Browning.
Well, thanks, Dennis. And and by the way, this is a non-powered Bananamite, I believe made by Electro-Voice, and still has the original bass on it. I haven't dropped it yet. I guess that's pretty common with these microphones. But anyway, that's about it. 23 channel sidebander, upper side, lower side. Does have HF capabilities, but I've never really messed with that. But I'm not even sure where that goes. But anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, there's a lot of controls from which to choose, and someone will mention something about it. You know, you can pull out this knob and it does something. I'm looking, I didn't know that. So by 1972, which is when this configuration of the Browning transmitter receiver came out, they pretty much had everything figured out, and they were stuffing it all into 2 boxes instead of 3 or 4. For those who love the Mark II and have the full Mark II train, this is their version of maybe we can fit them into 2 enormous, what was Michael say, 2 ginormous radios and still look cool. And you may still be able to afford it if you don't want to buy the Pinto. Radio number 3, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, always good. And you run the radio well. Like I said, it's never over-modulated and always on frequency. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, and thanks for checking it in, Dennis. And you're right, there's a couple of push-pull knobbins on it. The RF gain, you can pull that out. It kind of works, for extra receive. And then on the, there's another one here. I can't really read it, but I don't mess with them. So, if it's not broke, don't mess with it. So I just kind of leave things alone. So anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis. And by the way, your general radio sounded great up there if you're listening. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
37.
All right, and breaker acknowledged. 37, you will be radio number 4. Yeah, all the radios sounded good tonight, and I liked the tone control. Let's see, I wanted to just run the board here. There was a couple of questions. Somebody asked me if I have Instagram, and the answer to that is no. Also, what was some other stuff here? Well, I'll try and get to any questions that are thrown this way on the app. Oh, somebody's doing with Zello. One of the groups had Zello. I have not tried that yet. I guess it's like an audio version of Zoom. Whatever. But anyway, this is the Old Tube Radio Network. Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. You know what? The jingle singers want to give it a try. I think they're not chomping on the barbecue over there. So let's do that, and then we'll as 37 as Chris steps up into the air chair, and we'll be back after this word from our musical sponsor.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
And speaking of musical sponsors, you notice I do not have the pocket protector on tonight. At first, I didn't think this shirt had a pocket, and I just realized it's done so nicely. It does have a pocket, so I could have adorned the kind of Hawaiian thing here with the pocket protector. But we will continue that next week with our sponsor of the evening, who I don't know. I didn't pick an ink pen out of the plot there to see indeed who it might be. Speaking of who it might be, hello to SWL 37. Over.
Good evening time, Dennis. Hey, this is SWL 37. I would like to check in this radio here. This is my general radio telephone, the Super MC11A 24-channel that glows in the dark. We are running this in here with the non-amplified stock microphone. Over.
Stock audio from the Super MC11A. Do you ever feel left out that for some reason Browning decided to, I don't know, not put in the tone signal with the Super MC11A? You can't do the little tone thingy.
Yeah, well, I wish it did, but, I'm not going to cry about it.
Well, it's got all sorts of other neat stuff that the MC3s, 4s, and 5s don't have, including the output modulator tube, which makes the Super MC series nice. What it does have, the other ones don't, it's got the old man in the wheelchair up there.
Absolutely, with his IV, too.
Sometimes I feel like that little logo. You are sounding good. The General Radio Telephone, do I have a tube complement on that? That runs, yeah, it runs 9 tubes. The, what do we have? The earlier one, the MC3, runs 7 tubes. So I'd have to put them side by side to see what they added or took away, and it's got that mic preamp with the 12AX7, so you know it's going to be good. And the microphone you see in the shot, if you're looking at the picture somewhere, is the funky little teardrop microphone is what's producing all that audio. Of course, like Harvey, Chris has his own little range boost when it comes to speaking through the microphonium. Radio number 4, looking good. Give us another transmission, and thanks for taking time out of Saturday evening to get on the list tonight.
You betcha. It just takes a good pair of lungs to get it out there, and vocal cords to say, yeah.
And a help of a tube radio, which is always a good thing.
You betcha. And get her done.
All right. Thanks for that, the Old Tube Radio Network. I guess we're looking for radio number 5, and hopefully everybody is having a good weekend. Father's Day coming up tomorrow, and radio's coming up right now.
45.
Number 7.
60.
All right, I've got 45. Paul, step up into the air chair. You'll be radio number 5. And then number 60 is Glowing in the Dark. Joe, you'll be radio number 6, and then I'll catch Ed for radio number 7 in that order. So at 9:24, I'm getting so much stuff in the way here. My big giant LCD clock that should be easy to read is becoming harder and harder to read because I'm looking through lights, computer monitors, RCA jacks off an audio board, but I can see we still have time to do this. So, hello, Paul.
Hey, Danny. Helicopter CB7 little phone.
Ooh, I want to see if we've got a picture for that. We don't. We get a lot of the CB3As. You would think that Helicopter, that would be the only radio that they ever made for 11 meters, and obviously that is not correct. They made a lot. Not only tube radios, but solid state as well. So let me see if I've got a CB7. It says no image available. Let me see. No, actually, you know what? I do have one. So I'll trick the thing here and give us another transmission.
Yeah, I think I got mine in there if I remember right. No, I don't. It's on this plain picture. You'll find the thing in there. Helicopter CB-7.
All right, let me. There it is. All right, we'll try a shot of that, and it should be pretty close. It sounds good.
Okay. They said look on the back of the mic. Just talk forward and back. So I'm talking up the control. Now I'm going back forward. That's where they want me to talk. I hope I'm right. Yeah, that's the one right there. You got a picture of it. It's not a real fancy radio, but it's got 6 channels of the thing. And it's manufactured in 1965, so it was a real young one, older one. 7-tube crystal control, 110 volts, 12 and DC power, of course, on the thing. 6 crystal control, like I said, ceramic electro voice stock microphone, by the way. Not a pretty good size mic, it's not heavy, it's a plastic one, but they went with that. Anyway, there's more things to talk about, but I'm sure you got them too, Dan. It's back to you.
Well, I just zoomed in on the picture. The quality is not real good, but I think this is similar to the way they had the Helicopter CB3A, and maybe they did that on a lot of their little phone radios in the mid-'60s. I see the one we're showing has an S-meter, and if you look to the right of that, there's another rectangular panel similar to what they did on the CB3A, where you unscrew the panel, and there's a jack back there, and you can buy as an accessory the S-meter, and maybe this one also had the receive VFO since it was crystal control. So I guess my question would be, on either side of your channel selector, little escutcheons, the little plaques there for the channels, and by the Helicopter's logo, do you have either the S-meter or the VFO inserted into the rectangular slots? Over.
Yeah, has the S meter on it. Mine does not have the S meter. So that's two different things to think. I'd like to have the meter, but it's possible. Maybe someday maybe I'll get it. Okay. Modulation light on the lower left-hand bottom. Right now. Pretty good size light. I think it used to be red. It's kind of yellowish red now. But anyway, latches on the thing. Two latches open and press the top back. Got everything you need to get your crystals and everything. Get your super radio. Thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
Yeah, I like the Halicrafters. That's got the nice little small red H logo. And one of our listeners, Brown Dog Audio, said he's got one of those Halleys. So I think they sold the price point. I don't have a price point on this, but the Halicrafters was a good price point radio where it was, it wasn't $300. It got you started. Okay, it didn't have the S meter, but they were pretty cool in that you could get the base radio for a nice price. You could add the crystals. And then if you wanted to buy the accessories like the S meter and those things, you could add them and when you got the cash, right? So radio number 5, the Halicrafters CB7 from 1965. That's still when Halicrafters, I believe, was in Chicago, Illinois, and making stuff in the USA. They started, like Lafayette did and some of the other companies, started subbing out to do import stuff. But that wasn't until the very late 60s. And they were also at this time still doing really big guns in the amateur radio side. And of course, before that, all sorts of shortwave receivers and televisions and whatnot. A good history to this Halicrafters company. Thanks for bringing by Radio 5 tonight.
Thank you. $99.95.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for a price. So below $100, and that was hard to find. So they probably sold a lot of those. And they're still around. Probably a lot of taxi cabs running around with the CB7s in them. Thanks, Paul.
Question.
And the question, go ahead, over.
Yeah, I was just looking at the picture of Paul's radio. It looks like it has the secret crystal socket below the microphone hanger. Is that right?
Well, I just put the extreme close-up, and I'm going to say that's actually the 2 screws that hold in the microphone hanger. So if you wanted to take the microphone hanger out, you would take out your little greenie and detach those 2, and I can't see if they're Phillips head or not. So I think that's the way to affix the microphonium hanger. Over.
Okay. I was looking at it wrong. Thanks, Dennis. Back to you.
Yeah, this isn't, unfortunately, this isn't one of Cliff's great resolution, high-resolution pictures, but we're glad to have it. And I went to the close-up, and it definitely looks like that is the way to affix the clamp, the microphone holder, onto the radio. Okay, where are we going? SWL 6. We're at the bottom of the hour. Step up SWL 60 at 9:31. Joe, step into the air chair. We're going to go to the Jingle Singers here at the bottom of the hour, and when we come back, we'll be talking with you about the radio.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. We're at 27085. That's Channel 11 in the Central Valley of California. We are here every Saturday, starting around 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, trying to recreate the sound that was your CB radio back in the 60s and the 70s, and maybe the late 50s when these radios were brand new. That's why we call ourselves the Old Tube Radio Network. And everyone is invited, whether you are glowing in the dark or not, because that's the way CB used to be. And hopefully it is still like that today, wherever you are. Hello, Mr. Hustler, over.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, we want to check in our pretty green machine here, our handsome Robin T123B, which each week I seem to be getting more interested about it. I have, if you can tell, on the radio, well, I don't see them on yours. I have some brass screws. These must have been put in. up next to the meter and some brass screws over to the external speaker side. Well, there's little micro switches there. They're the same kind you would find on the bottom of a Turner Plus 2. And I got to fooling with those, and it looks like I have some extra channels. I have on channel 126, 227, 328, 430, 531, 32 on 6, 33 on 7, and 35 on 8, plus the standard channels, the regular channels. So we found a number of channels playing around with it. Now this is a stock microphone. It's a little bitty one, the original. In fact, I think it's just as rare as the radio, if not rarer. But this is our T123B, Dennis.
T123B, one of the green machines. I've got a picture. I zoomed out so that we could see the microphonium, which is indeed the same one you have. This one has a little logo insert. I don't know if it says Robin on it or not. And now, did I understand to say that you have, they took out the external speaker switches and PA switches, or they've added something below those? Because I do see on the picture here, there is what looks like a set screw or something below the external speaker and the PA switch. So you're saying there you've got something different in your radio there?
Yeah, Dennis, I have a set of screws next to the meter where the TX sign is at, and I have a set of screws right there where the PA speaker, right between the L and the C on Citizen and Channel. I have a set of brass screws there, and it has two little micro switches that you can put up and down. And according to those switches, I've found these channels. Channel 8 is 35, and then Channel 9 is all regular. I can go down with a switch and get all 23 regular channels, or I can have them a certain position and get from 26 to 35.
Interesting. I don't have info on that, but I think that radio probably was synthesized crystals, so maybe what they did is you're switching in, when you go to that channel, you switch in a block, another crystal block that expands you up to the higher frequencies. I'm not sure. Somebody's more familiar with the Robins might know what modification that was. Obviously, in the later radios with the PLL chips, it was fairly simple when you knew the code to do that. But on the crystal-controlled radios that were synthesized, I think if you replaced one of the multiplier crystals, then you could get certain channels in there. Maybe that's what they did. I guess you'd have to look in there, and you could probably do a little Sherlocking and say, aha, okay, see where that wire goes to? It sounds good all the way around. I guess, I can't remember if I've asked you before if you have the range expand on or off. It's good where it is. I don't think you need to move anything. And it does make the little microphonium sound a little bit bigger. Over.
Yeah, doggone it. I have to make sure I got it in my hand there and I'm squeezing the lever. It's so small. But the range boost is on. It's been on since the day I got it. And everything is working, the TX light, the modulation light, and the lights for the extra speaker. And those click in, the light stays on. And when I do the PA, it clicks on, it clicks in, and the PA light comes on. So as long as those lights are not on, I'm on regular CB. Well, I appreciate it, Dennis. And like I say, I'm every week getting more and more interested on this radio here. I'm going to be taking it apart to clean it. We're not a mechanic on it. We're going to take it off, clean it very gently, and put it back together again, and maybe research a little bit about those extra channels.
Certainly. Cleaning never hurts. There are movable parts that do get some corrosion on them, especially the volume controls and anything that channel selectors like that. Also, you can gently, even just reseating the tubes, and the tube set in the socket. Imagine if you sit in a chair for 30 years. You might be a little creaky when you try and get up and move. Same way with those metal pins in the tube socket. Sometimes just pulling them out and reseating them helps. Although I don't hear any bad things or wacky things going on with your radio there, but sounds like a fun project. Radio number 6, the Robin T123B, which was sort of the middle in the line between the Robin T123. This was the T123B, which I believe was the Panasonic chassis that was shared with some other radios. And they manufactured this from 1972 to 1976. And the only reason they abandoned it in 1976 is because the FCC allowed the 40 channels. So instead of flipping the little switches, you just went out and bought a Robin T240D. And they had that already done for you. And so probably the prices on these things plummeted because nobody wanted a 23-channel radio anymore. But we do. We love even the single-channel radios as long as that single channel is channel 11. It is also an 11-tube radio, and it looks like we have an operator's manual and a schematic at oldtuberadio.com. So thanks for bringing it by tonight.
Thank you much. I had a quick question, though, on the volume there. It says instant on. What is that instant on? I normally let it warm up. I plug it in and I let it warm up before I turn it on. The instant on is it can be used right away or what?
You know, we have discussed this before. I'm thinking in my brain, does that pull out the instant on? Is it something that pulls in the knob?
No, the tone does. The squelch has a knob you can pull for the tone, pull tone. But below the volume, it says instant on. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay. Okay, I'm getting some info here. Okay. All right, so Harvey, let me get this straight. If you have the radio plugged in, the radio is plugged into the wall, but the volume switch is off, it's heating the filaments. Is that correct? Over.
Correct. 24/7.
Okay. When tubes were cheap. So it was people complaining. Remember, it's 1972. Solid state is rearing its solid state head, and people are saying, you don't even have to wait for the radio to warm up. So they figured out a way to make your radio be instant on, but it's you have to pay the piper. So you've got voltage running through your tubes all the time, maybe shortening the life of them, but probably not that much. And so when you turn your volume control on, when the radio's plugged in, those tubes are already warmed up. So your tubes are pre-warmed. Think of like putting the croissant in the microwave oven. You just give it a couple seconds and you're ready to go. So for that to work, you physically have to have the radio plugged into the wall. If that's something that really bothers you, then you must unplug your radio from the wall as well.
That's what we're going to do. Unplug it. We don't mind warming it up. Okay, Dennis, thanks, and let's let the next guy go.
Okay, and lest we hear otherwise, that's probably not a bad thing to do. Now, the thing with tubes they're sort of made to stay on. It's like a light bulb. Some people used to say, well, the tube should be on. You don't want the filaments collapsing and expanding and heating and unheating, but they're probably okay. Same thing with the light bulb, which it sort of kind of is, I guess. All right, but that's cool. I forgot about the instant on. Some of the old receivers, my Hallicrafters SX25 has a switch. You flip that switch and it will go into standby, meaning that it's keeping the heater voltages on the tubes. That's more critical for a receiver, true, because you can drift a little bit receive-wise when the thing is warming up, but I don't think it's that critical. Like you said, you've got a better schedule than that. You can spend 5 minutes saying, okay, I'll let the radio warm up. The Old Tube Radio Network. Before we hear the jingle singers again, I hope Ed is still there. He is being very patient to get into the number 7 spot tonight. Hello, Mr. Ed.
And hello, OTR, and all the SWLs, of course. This is the Tram, Tango Romeo 27 Echo, TR27E, 23-channel transmit and receive. Another big green radio.
And I believe, I'm trying to think which came first. I think this came before the the Titan series, but the Titan series borrowed that cool meter. So the 27E was the last of the 27 series. I don't think they went to the Titan, so they just said, we still got a box of 10,000 of these meters. Let's put them into the Titan. We'll put up the close-up shot, and we'll go back to you for a transmission.
There you go. Well, fairly large radio, 5x7 speaker, looking at the grill there. And, of course, like you mentioned, the big S meter, which is nice and easy to see even for my old eyes. And, of course, I've got the Electro Voice 638 microphone attached.
Hence the that is a classic-sounding radio. When I want to, if I wanted to say, if you want to, what's an old tube radio sound like? And you can get a Browning with a hopped up audio, you can get a Buddy bass, but if you just want the standard, what did things sound like? I think that combination, because you're not driving it really hard in the audio department, that tram can do a lot more than what you're doing. But the microphone paired with the radio, I think give it that sound where when you hear it, you know that it's not just a small little plastic box with transistors in it. It sounds good.
Thank you. Yep, you got a picture of the very radio on which I'm speaking. And, of course, the Electro Voice is a nice, heavy chunk of metal, so it's not a cheap microphone.
And you definitely don't want to drop it on the floor. Well, it would probably break. If you had a tile floor, it would probably break the tile. Let's see. I was going to ask you a question. We've got the shot here, and the fans of Green Radio, Chrissy, SWL28 has taken note that the Green Radios are coming back up here tonight, and that's a good thing. There is a switch before you go. I think we talked about this, but now I've forgotten. It is near the mod light. Let me expand that. Where is my extreme CU? Here we go. Oh, X. Okay, I think that's the crystal. It's just a slide. It's two arrows, and then one of them says X. So that's for some crystal or crystal selection. Is that correct?
That is correct. The manual switch, and then the X is for the external receive, and I got a little spot there on the outside to shove a crystal in there and listen that way.
Okay, MX. So if you're looking at if you're not familiar with it, you have the receive tune. That's the big knob. So you're cranking that around for your all 23 channels. No crystals involved there. And then you've got the smaller knob where it says XMIT channel and the little dinky window, and that is your crystal-controlled, mandated by the FCC channel. So you need to sync your receive with the transmit, I guess. I don't think it's can do both. Yeah, because there's your red spot switch. And then, if that wasn't enough, manual and X. So when you go to the X, it's changing so you have another external, and that's transmit crystal. Okay, am I getting this right?
Actually, that's the receive crystal on there. So you have you can put a receive on there. In fact, if you look right underneath the squelch knob, you'll see there's a little spot. There's actually a crystal sitting down there that I had for that specific purpose.
Okay, yeah. Dennis just has to read what it says. XTALREC. Okay, that makes more sense to me. That's why I was questioning it. I said, why would you need another transmit? So the reason you would do that is, you're on channel 1 and you got to turn that knob all the way to channel 23, and then you got to turn it back to channel 1. So you're rotating your receive tune. So if you had a favorite channel, let's say the perfect way to do this would be to have a channel 11 receive crystal. So on Saturday nights, you would just go to X. You would just flip over to X, and no spotting or anything required, and you make sure your transmitter's on 11, and away you go. So that's sort of like your favorite channel. They thought of everything. Good deal. Radio number 7, the Tram X marks the spot. Thank you, Harvey. The Tram TR27E for Radio 7 from, I believe it, 1963. How sophisticated.
There you go. Well, I actually switch it over to the X for when I'm warming up and running the other radios, because that way nothing's coming through, and then I just flip it over to the M to start broadcasting.
Good stuff. And I suppose if you had a bad crystal or something on one of your favorite channels, you could go out and buy, what was it, $4.95 or $2.95 and stuff it in there, and you could amaze your friends by by changing your frequency off and on. The Old Tube Radio Network, the Jingle Singers are ready to go. Are they ready to go? Yes, they are ready to go. I hope there are some goodies left by the time the net is over. I'm all dressed. I'm all dressed up for the luau, and I haven't even been there yet.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
Fresno, California is where we at. Let me say goodnight to Brown Dog Audio, who's going to sign off tonight, 73. Happy Father's Day, he says. Thanks for that. Also, you know what? I need to get in. I see Mitch has jumped into the radio room. So I will get SWL 23 checked in tonight. And he has a public service announcement. Let's see. Rare tube radios for sale on eBay now. The Cadre 510A. Are you listening, Harvey? You probably already know about this. The Cadre 510A, the Morrow 5W3B, the Morrow S, the Morrow 5W1. That he's never seen or heard of any of these before. So we'll have to check that out. Harvey, you'll have to give us a report on ePay for the Cadre and Morrow radios. And Dave, I agree about the multi-Almac AF67 or 68. Occasionally, I have to check my log and see if I've ever talked to some of the guys on the 3870 running those, or maybe up on the 10-meter AM. All right, let me stop talking and say that we are the Old Tube Radio, and we are listening for radio number 8.
Number 7.
25.
20. 60.
Wow, we got 7, 25, 20, and 60. So we've got Ed, Jerry, Harvey, and Joe. Did I leave anybody out? Okay, we will start with, because Ed was there, we will start with Ed at 9, see, I can't even see the clock anymore. 9:50, hello, radio.
Hello, OTR. Oh, I was also noticing, Dave, it was a Hebert, said we should all go out and paint our cars that green. Well, I have a 63 Chevy pickup that is painted the same color as my Tram. Ha. Anyway, this is the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
All right, we'll try and move along here, but I want to give everybody their due time. So I'll come up with a picture, I think. If I can't find a picture of a Browning Mark III, then we're not the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, there it is. From 1972 to 1976, suffering basically the same fate that all the 23-channel radios did in 1976, meaning they were outdated. And their values went plummeting. Although this radio, the value never plummeted. It sounds good. So Harvey, I want Harvey to know which one this is, because I think he roots for that other one you've got. Give us another transmission.
There you go. Well, this was the first Browning that I got a hold of, and of course Harvey and Red Monkey put this thing back together and got it working great. So definitely thumbs up to those guys. And also have the gold-plated limited edition D104 Golden Eagle,
which we actually see a similar edition in this shot of the radio. Let's see, if my memory serves me correctly, if anybody's looking at the picture, wherever it might be, the unit on top, I'm going to get myself in trouble. The unit on top is the receiver. Yeah, because it's got the speaker, the unit on the bottom of the transmitter. Over.
Yeah, that is correct. This one is actually just the exact opposite way around, though. I've got the bottom one with the speaker and the top one on the transmitter. They are actually one on top of each other, but separated by a few inches because I've got a shelf under there, and it makes it kind of nice.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you something, and then I'll let you go because I said I wasn't going to take too much time. But I'm feeling kind of goofy tonight. We got the picture there. If you're looking at the bottom transmitter, there's a VFO. There actually is a VFO on this radio that I believe works. So if you don't want to, if you've got it calibrated and don't want to mess things up, that's fine. But what on your next transmission, if you transmit long enough, what I'd like to do is I'm going to switch to sideband. You're going to stay on AM. But as you talk, you're going to rotate that VFO, and I think it actually allows you on AM to move the frequency around. So I'll stay on sideband, and you should be able to hear the transmitter moving about. Is that something you can do for a test here?
Well, sure. As a matter of
fact, I can just grab it right now, and there's that way, and then we'll go all the way over to this side, and back over to the other, and hopefully you'll be able to whoop and put about the middle, and hopefully that will have done something.
All right, switching back to AM. You know what? I didn't zero beat you in, so you kind of sounded like Donald Duck, but it didn't move. I thought those worked on AM. Maybe they only work when it's in the sideband mode. It did not move.
Yeah, when I put it on the frequency counter, it does actually move.
Really? All right. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. All right, but I thought it would move like 700 cycles. That would have been a very definitive thing. All right. Well, this experiment will be continued. To be continued. Let me go back to the picture on the old Tube Radio Network. All right. Thanks for entertaining the host tonight.
Oops, actually, that was the wrong one. If you want to try that again, I was turning the wrong knob. Okay, now we'll do that. Let's see. Okay, now we'll...
Over here.
And way back over there. That should...
All right. You're making the net control operator feel a lot better now. That was a perfect demo.
Yeah, I was just twisting the wrong knob. Darn.
Okay. And here I am in my Hawaiian shirt with egg on my face. No, it was perfect. All right, thanks. You are done and your check's in the mail.
All right, thanks a lot, OTR. We'll get another radio warmed up before you shut off.
Okay, before I shut off, and I looked at my little notes I scribbled here. 7 is in. Let's go down the road, up the hill, past the giraffe to SWL 25. Hello, radio.
And aloha, Dennis, and 25 checking in very quickly on a Holocrafters Citizens little phone with all the extras. Has the VFO on the left-hand side, and of course the signal strength meter on the right-hand side, and on the lower left-hand side is the on-the-air light, and talking on a non-powered D104 microphone. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Really a nice combination. Those work well with the supplied microphone, but that D104 is a good combination for the nice, crisp, clear audio. Our second Holocrafters tonight. The CB7, which came out a couple years after that, somewhat similar. I think it had 1, 2, 3. It had fewer channels, but it still had the configuration where you could add the S meter and the receive VFO as an option. So that is radio number 9 tonight at 9:55. And we'll go back to give us one more transmission. Thanks for bringing it by over.
Hey, no problem, Dennis. Yeah, cool little radio. This what's got the extra bank of tubes added on the right-hand side, and I think somebody did that as for the receive, because this radio just has excellent receive. So one of these days I'm going to have to take a picture of it and send it to you. Either that or you're going to have to come see it firsthand. But anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis, and we'll be listening. Back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for Thanks for bringing by the Hallicrafters CB38. We are getting into double digits here, and there are no balloons. I think we have to check in 100 radios in one evening for the balloons to come down out of the ceiling. Let's go over to... Boy, I scribble too much. Let's go over to Harvey, I believe, is where we are going now. Hello, radio.
Hello, I'm here. Is this one working now? Go ahead.
It is working. It's a little bit low, but I hear you 100% over.
Okay, no extra range boost. Can you check my frequency while I'm talking? Hello, 1, 2, 3. Or 0 beat. And I'm guessing it's going to say 0851. Something like that.
Okay, I hear your audio is kind of weak, but I was able, though the SWLs that were listening in were able to hear me 0 beat you, and let's see, mine at 270532, and I'm always 10. So I've got you at 85.2, 85.2.
Okay, I redid my frequency counter, so that's close enough. Okay, the Robin C123D. Now this is an amplified hand mic, but it's dynamic, okay? So I can turn it up, which I just did. Is that a little bit better then?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. The audio is clear, and I think part of it is just the signal is weak, so there's some signal-to-noise thing going on, and obviously you don't want to add distortion, because, loudness is good, but loudness and distortion is not good. So I think you're okay. I don't think you should go up any more. It helped a little bit, but I think we have a signal-to-noise problem here. But the audio is clear. Over.
Okay, turning the mic back down, and I'm putting the range boost on. Okay, the range boost is on. I have to back off the mic for it to sound a little better, and then I'm going to change mic after this transmission.
All right, I put on the Orban meter so we can check loudness. There's a lot of noise that confuses things a little bit. When you put in the range boost, it brought in a lower frequency, which I can hear through the headphones. It actually helped. It helped the intelligibility by adding a little bit of low frequency, and it didn't seem to add any distortion. So we'll go back to you for another check. Over.
Okay. Put a different mic on. This is the range boost off, and this is the range boost on. How are we doing there?
Okay, range boost off, not bad. I'm not sure if this one has the intelligibility. That means the mid-high punch, but it's got a lot of drive. When you put in the range boost, it's flat-topped and distorted. So obviously, you would have to, if you can, with that microphone, if you're using the range boost, you severely have to decrease the gain of the microphone.
Okay. Whoops, I'm feeding back in another radio. Well, that in the noise level should be gone.
The in the noise level is gone. Over.
Turned down the other radio. Okay. Amplified D104 turned up 1/2 with the range boost off. Okay. And talking about arm's length away from the mic.
Okay, it sounds like it because I can get a little room noise. Yeah, I don't think you would want, you've got plenty of audio. I don't think you want to amplify it again with the range boost. As true microphone professional etiquette, the best way, of course, is to be a lot closer to the microphone and maybe with less gain. But I know there's a comfort issue going on here, so it's good. Now that we've got a little less noise and a little more signal, I think you are okay. I'm not sure. Is this the original microphone you started with?
No, this is the D104.
Okay, because I was thinking quality-wise, I liked the very first microphone you had.
Okay, let me switch it on.
But of course that was through the noise, so it's hard to say.
Okay. Range boost off, but with the helper on and the handler.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm going to take back what I said. That does not sound as good as the D104.
Okay, I turned this one up. Now, this is a dynamic amplified hand mic.
Okay, and you know what? It sounds like a dynamic amplified hand mic. The D104 does have some more better clarity to it.
Hang on. Switching. Okay. I hate this radio. Well, T123B. Now, I'd have to change about every little semiconductor part in the transmit because I can't get decent forward swing. The reason is I can't, I'll try to loosen the cores inside the inductors so I can retune this thing. But this one's notorious for having those stuck in there real tight, and I don't want to break anything. I picked this up last week in Modesto. A gentleman brought it down from Sacramento along with another 123B and a Chris 23 like Chris's Chris 23 for me to work on. And since I go up there once a month, I'm going to try and get these done and get them back up to him. And Paul, don't worry, I haven't forgotten yours. Anyway, and then I'm waiting on a tube for Tom's out there, Sanger. Anyway, and then right when I got in here, you were talking about asking me a question about some radios.
Oh, you know what? Let's work on that one. And Joe, don't go away. We still got you in the queue here for Radio 11. We had, in fact, it was Joe, our next station coming up on his Robin T123B, and he's got some modifications with some external switches that give him channels above channel 23. And you might know, does that radio use the synthesized blocks of crystals where it has 13 crystals that do 23 channels or something? What would they be doing to expand to get to the higher frequencies? Just adding, switching in another multiplier crystal that takes you somewhere else?
Correct, which is what they did to this one. This one has plug-in crystals. Oh, wait, hang on. No, this one's got soldering crystals. They unsoldered the crystal for channels 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one was a 23-290 crystal. And they put in a 23-790 crystal, which gives you a channel, let me think, frequencies 27, 4, I think 75, 85, 95, and 105, 505. That's what they did. And when they did that, they unsoldered the crystal, and the crystals are on the circuit board, and they're on their side. So what the guy did was he soldered a crystal socket in the other side and plugged in that 290 crystal. Well, I collected a ton of crystals from Bill when he left. So I went and got the correct crystal and plugged it in. So now this guy's got channels 1, 2, 3, 4. And I took the other one and taped it to one of the inductor cans, which is what the guy should have done when he did this modification. But on that other radio, that's what they did, but they put switches so you could switch them in and out. And the other 123B that I've got, somebody did that. Put a switch up at the top, exactly where he said his was, but they fixed it back by
taking the crystals out and cutting the wires, but they left the switches in the radio so they wouldn't have holes. But that's what that's for.
Okay, makes sense. And for those who couldn't wait until 1976, right, when when you just go by the 240D. But that works out good. Okay, thanks for that. I want to get to our next radio. But we'll keep checking stuff in here. It is it's still 84 degrees in here, so not too bad. I'm surprised you must have the Radio Shack air conditioning tonight. All right, Harvey, we'll get back to you. Thanks for answering that question. I want to pick up, speaking of radios, Joe, are you there? 60.
Yeah, we're here, Dennis. Doggone, we want to check in, and thanks to Harvey for that information. We want to check in this Johnson, the Johnson Messenger 223 with a ceramic mic.
I'm always impressed how well all of these radios sound without any fancy modulators or audio boxes. Out of the box, they always do pretty good. You don't need super special stuff to sound good on a tube radio. E.F. Johnson Company. Let me see if I can get the 223 up for a blast. And I think you told us that this radio does not have the modulation light, at least out on the front where you can see it, right?
Yeah, no, it's somewhere probably hidden. I think Harvey knows where it's at. I have looked for it, but I cleaned the radio. I took it apart and dusted it. I couldn't see or find that part. But other than that, it's a well-lit radio. I don't even need a light on here to help me see the dial or the S meter. But other than that, nice working little radio, friendly radio, real nice beginner's radio. I've got the original Johnson desk mic. I just came across it. Well, my only problem is maybe Harvey will be able to help me with that. It didn't have the element in it. It was sent to me, or we got it where we got it from, and someone had borrowed the element.
All right. Well, I think that's a standard. Was it Shure or a Turner? And it's probably got a number like a 350 or 400 or something. So maybe you'll be able to find a replacement that would go in the standard, whatever the standard issue was that way. If you can find one that's good, that's the problem about trying to find a replacement for a 40-year-old cartridge. There may be some other stuff that would work. Even if you've got the grill, you could hide something in there like an electret. But it's got to work with, let's see, it works with electronic switching. So that's the other thing. You have to have a microphone plugged in there of some sort for you to get receive out of that cool looking speaker. And yeah, the whole front end of that radio pretty much lights up the way they have the channel selection and the S meter put all together. We are listening to the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223, produced from 1969 to 1972. It was basically the Messenger 2 with 23 channels, hence the 223 and some other items of interest, making it more into a base than a mobile radio. And before you go, you know what I'm going to do? Let me check your frequency on that. So take another transmission, and we'll see how close you are to 27085. Over.
Okay, Dennis. I will do that. And I'm kind of skeptical about putting the Johnson desk mic on. I've got a Shure head. It comes off a Shure microphone, stock microphone, and it fits perfect inside. Has a ring and everything, so it can be set in there. But this is my little modulation check, if you're going to give me one.
That's it. Sounds good. I checked the frequency. You are right on. I mean, right on frequency. I don't have to touch the dial from where I think the center of it is. And I remember it was a radio ham guy, Larry, who worked for E.F. Johnson. I think he said everything that was great. Everything was great except for, he said, the crystals on those radios used to drift a lot. But yours has not. I mean, it's right on. So maybe back in the day it drifted, and now it's drifting back the other way. So you're good to go for being on frequency. You will not get a knock on your door from the FCC.
Thank you much. Hey, okay, Dennis, we'll let it go there, and we're going to wish you a happy Father's Day. Okay, let the next guy go.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis.
Let me sneak in there. What's he missing?
He is missing he has the Johnson, issued desk mic with the Johnson across the push-to-talk bar for that, but apparently doesn't have the element. It doesn't have the cartridge in it.
It's a Turner Plus 2 cartridge. Either ceramic or crystal. Either one works. It's a Turner Plus 2 type cartridge. I've got a couple Plus 2s around here, desk bikes, and I'll look around and see if I can find a decent cartridge. You might find one on eBay, but you don't know if they work really well or not. But that's what it is, a cartridge from a Turner Plus 2.
Thank you, Harvey, and thank you once again, Dennis.
Okay, because some of our SWLs are concerned that you might be out of your element, and we don't want that. That's for sure. All right, the Old Tube Radio Network, we are standing by. We're going to do counting and amounting. We're a little bit past time, but that's okay. They're still doing their stuff down in the green room. I am dressed and ready to be involved in whatever is left out there, and we have room on the radio list to take more check-ins. So OTR is standing by, counting and amounting. Let's, where are those jingle singers, doggone it? Let's get them back here and see what they're going to tell us to do.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Number 7.
And I hear a number 7 over.
Well, just because you mentioned it, another Browning, the R68 T68 with the banana-type microphone.
As they say, yes, we have no bananas.
Well, actually, I have a banana mic, and yeah, it's got the base and everything on there. It's in very good condition. I got it out at Red Monkey when they had one of their open houses, so some guy just had it out there, plugged it in, and it works perfect.
That it does, making some decent modulation here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let me see, what am I showing? That is the Browning Golden Eagle R68 Series 1 receiver. So there you go. Let's put the receiver up as we talk about that. It's amazing how much noise that can make. Does yours still have the little flying eagle in the center?
Yes, it does. Of course, original Golden Eagle, but yes, it has the Eagle, although it's not quite as finished as the one on the Mark III, but it's there.
You know, I was just about to make a comment. It looks, what's that, more bronzy? I thought that was just a picture, but maybe not as shiny. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yeah, it doesn't quite have the definition of the Mark III, and the Mark III has the highlights like to it. It's got the darker areas in there where the Eagle shows up much better, where the other one doesn't really have any highlights.
Okay, and I'm seeing that in the photo. I thought maybe it was just the photo, but it's actually something they changed, or maybe they went with a different manufacturer of the Eagles. Who was it? Jimmy Fielder, one of the Facebook guys. That would be a question. I forgot. He's talking to, what was it, Gardner? One of the Gardner Green relatives. And I think he's going to be able to ask some questions. So that would be a good question they might know, is like on the Browning, on the Eagles speaker appliques or the emblems, how did those work? What was the chronological order of that, or did they make them in-house, or that's it? I'll have to drop him a line and see if we could get the scoop on when they started putting those on their who made those and what happened. So, okay, we'll see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Well, that would definitely be something good to know. Yeah, the one on the Mark III is much higher definition than the one on the Golden Eagle. It was kind of a sloppy mold job, really. It just doesn't quite have the, or you can't see the feathers all in the wings as much as you can on the Mark III.
Yeah, it's like coins and all those coin collectors. And you're looking at tail feathers to determine if you got an extra fine grade or it's been double stamped or something. So maybe there's a whole deal with Browning Eagle appliques. And then the radio is worth more because it was a one-of-a-kind stamp or something like that. Radio 12, the R68 T68, known as the Browning Golden Eagle, not the Mark II or the Mark III, or I guess you could call it the Mark I, but I don't everybody hear them call it that.
Yeah, the Mark IX Golden Eagle.
All right, sounding good as we are counting and amounting on the Old Tube Radio Network.
20.
And 20, go ahead, over.
Browning Golden Eagle, or 68T68 by Browning Laboratories, and custom D104, the Browning medallion on the back. When I came in, you were talking about a Cadre radio and a Morrow and stuff like that. What was that about?
You know what? Let me go back. It was Mitch, one of the SWLs, had looked on eBay and said there was a series of old radios. Let me see if I can find that post. But at first thing, it's on ePay. So probably with your knowledge of eBay, you could probably find it faster than I'm going to find this post. But there was a Morrow, and there were strange numbers. And Cadre, okay, because it's like little dinky type on a little dinky screen and a little dinky window that I'm trying to find here. But you're getting the oh, here it is. Okay, it's rare tube radios. So I don't even know if they're 11 meters. A 510A, that's a Cadre, a Morrow 5W3 Baker, and a Morrow, it looks like 5W1, over.
The Morrows are tube radios. They also produce the same ones under the Davis name. And on the back, the guy stencils in script the name Davis and the name Morrow. I've got a Morrow, and I think Paul has a Morrow and a Davis. The Cadre 510 looks like a tube radio, but it's solid state. I have the puppy, and I put it on air. Sounds real. You said it sounds okay, receives fine. It looked like a tube radio, but it's solid state.
Okay, it appears there, and I don't know if it's typical ePay prices, but there are a few of those up and running, or up on eBay right now to the unsuspecting buyer.
Now, if you look at the microphones, they should be stock on the Morrows. There are those flat ones. They have the carbon cartridge in there, and right off the mic plug inside the radio, you trace out the mic wire, and you'll find it goes to a couple of parts, just like what they put in the sonar, big fat sonar hand mic. It's that little amplified circuit to do the carbon cartridge. And generally speaking, either the resistors, the tolerance goes way up bad, or more commonly, the little electrolytic capacitor that's in the circuit goes bad, and then you lose your audio. Paul had, I think, either a Raytheon or
something like that, and had that mic. Took me forever to go, what is this circuit? And then I remembered it looks just like the circuit in the hand mic of the Sonar, and that's what it was. And it was a bad cap. I replaced that, and he had his audio back. But those radios have that mic, and unless you bypass that circuit into the first mic amp tube, you can't use any other type mic.
Well, that's no fun.
You tell me about it. I thought, oh, bad hand mic. Here, I'll just wire some nice D104 to it just to see. Couldn't get it to work at all. So fortunately, I had a schematic for whatever radio it was I was working on there. And I looked and went, oh, look at that. That's got a crazy little circuit. And then it was the same as the Sonar. So I go, oh, I see what they did. And then I could see where you could bypass it. You disconnect a certain resistor and put the mic wire right there. And then you can use a D104 or a dynamic mic or whatever. It's just on those radios, the mic hooks up to some screws on the back of the radio. You just have to disconnect the resistor, leave it right there, and run a wire to that screw in the back, and disconnect the wire right to that screw that's going to that circuit, and then you can run any other mic.
Okay, good to know. Assuming you have any other microphone to run. Speaking of any other mic, if there is any other radio with any other mic connected, we'd like to pick you up now before we jump out of the old tube radio network. So we're standing by.
Is that my cue?
That could be a cue. Over.
No, that's your EQV.
I have no... Boy, you guys are so quick. It's 10:25 at night, and this is good. This is better than listening to Bob Hope. Well, first and foremost, greetings from the Radio Lounge. I haven't had a chance to say that this evening. SWL47 here. I missed check-in. I decided I need to get off my lazy butt and go for a walk, so I went walking down Old Fig Garden around that area. But anyways... so it seems like we've had a lot of robins this evening, or more than usual, I should say. So I thought I'd chime in on my robin T123, the oldest robin I have, with, of course, the Magic Eye tube, which, unlike most of the other tubes in this radio, the Magic Eye tube is not making this room, like, disgustingly hot. I don't know how you guys are handling 83, and I don't know, Lord knows what the temperature is in the Radio Shack over there with SWL20. But anyways, Magic Eye tubes, no heat. Everything else, yeah, it's you can feel the heat coming off this guy.
It's finally down to 80 degrees.
And it's still showing 84 in here, but the sensor is, I think, near a fan that's putting out some heat. All right, well, it looks like we have another green radio sneaking in tonight, which is okay. You are lucky number 13. I have checked in SWL 47. And you are right. There are a lot of robins out there. In fact, they're pecking away at the Brownings even as we speak. Over.
Okay, well, let's do some more picking then. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to switch gears and switch radios on you pretty abruptly. So the radio I was just talking on was the 123, again with the awesome vertically mounted Magic Eye tube. This radio I'm on right now has no Magic Eye
whatsoever. It does have a small modulation lamp, which is not really doing a whole lot of anything because I'm using the unamplified stock mic, but this is the second and final radio from the Radio Lounge. This is my Robin T123 Bravo.
Now, the fastest coax switch in the West. Radio 13 tonight, the Robin T123, our one and only Magic iTube. And this radio has been, this is the featured radio of the evening, the Robin T123B of now, which that is our third one of the evening. Talked about them with extra switches to go to channels above 23 and the microphone. Joe runs the stock microphone with the very small little handheld microphonium and does quite a good job. And of course, your 123B sounds awesome as well.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I know that first of all, if you go on eBay, there are a lot of these 123Bs floating around there. And I'm not surprised that, whatever, 2 or 3 other folks have checked these in this evening. And Harvey, I kind of caught a little bit of what you were talking about. I wasn't sure if you had even picked up a few extra Robins this past week, but I don't know. I guess they earned the Robin company a couple bucks, but this one's great. I like it. It doesn't have any extra channels or anything. There is, I always talk about this radio and how nice it looks. It's probably the nicest looking radio I have in my collection. Basically, I don't think it's scratched at all. I think it, to my eye at least, it looks almost brand new. But there is one very, very, very small switch that was added to the face of the radio in the upper right-hand corner. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'm sure Harvey might, but it's not extra channels. I think they're it might have been like an antenna switch. There might be some options to use a different antenna, I think, although I don't remember seeing an extra connector there on the back. I don't know. Maybe that's you give me homework. I'm going to have to figure that one out.
Well, it could have been something put on by a wise guy, so when you flip it, instead of getting extra channels, it actually takes some of them away.
I can't remember what it's for, but I think I left it in so you wouldn't have a hole. But you might want to take it out and put a nice shiny screw in there, and it won't look as bad.
No, I like that. Yeah, I like the idea of adding in a switch that actually takes away some of the channel. That's good. That's kind of like your wife's way of kind of cutting down the time that you probably wasted on these radios in the 70s. She flips the switch and hopes that you don't notice, and you're like, gee, I can't hear as many people talking on the radio tonight. I wonder why. Well, because your wife just put a switch on and cut out half your channels. That's a good idea.
Indeed. Yeah, sometimes there's, too many radios and so little time. But we actually have a lot of time tonight, so we're doing well. The Robin T123B. All right, you may have pecked a hole into the pecking order tonight with that. Let me since we're starting to lose a lot of our SWLs that are way far away from California as it is early Sunday morning, let me see if there were any other stations would like to check in before we, as we used to say, we return the frequency to normal, whatever that means. And both Robins sound good. You've got them equalized. Sometimes before the audio would be a little more or less, but it seems like you've got them well modulated tonight, more so than usual. Not that they aren't.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. The only extra comment I can make about this real quick is that I know someone or the topic of the instant on feature was something that was spoken about earlier.
I don't have power running to this radio all the time. I do have it plugged into a power strip. So, even when the radio itself is turned off, of course, if it's without a power strip, you are going to be running voltage through there, and it would not earn the California Energy Star rating. So I didn't like that. I didn't want the heat being put off, and the risk of a fire with old radio equipment. So I do have it plugged into a power strip that I do turn off. But anyways, there it is. Thanks for letting me check both these radios in. Everyone sounds great this evening, and what a pleasure. Thank you, sir. 73.
All right, thanks for jumping into the Radio Shack tonight. I thought we were going to miss you, but there you are. And here we are. I am looking at various controls. Looks like everything is still up and running. Any other check-ins before we go away here? Who's that? Can you check me in? I thought that's 28. Is that not 28? Did I not check in? Did I not check in SWL 28? I'm sure I did. Name something green that talks. Kermit the Frog. And does anybody ever have the handle of Kermit the Frog? That would be green and talking. And it sounds like the band is opening up. I occasionally hear some heterodyne coming through, so check your sideband radios. Maybe we'll check some 10-meter stuff before I get out of here. So, where are those jingle singers when you need them? All right, here we go. This is the song we've been waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals. The current and final OTR totals. Let's start with the shortwave listener side, where we had 11 on page 1, 15 on page 2, 16 on page 3, 15 on page 4, for a total of 57. And radios tonight, we went up to a whopping 14 radios. And who was the most heard manufacturer? Was it the Trams? No. Was it the General Radio Telephones? Close, but no. Was it the Brownings? Well, actually, the Brownings were in first place until the very end, when the Robins flew in, and with 4 radios were the most heard manufacturer tonight. We did start with a Tram, though, the Tram Titan. Cliff demonstrating the Tram Titan that we often show a picture of, and we actually got to hear that radio tonight. Thanks, Cliff. General Radio Telephone MC3 dual range, one of the General Radio telephones tonight, and I think their first, they may want to call it Master Control, but one of their first MC series from 1960. Thanks, Paul, for that. Radio number 3 was Jerry and Madeira on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Then we went over to Chris on his General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Radio 5 was Paul on the Hallicrafter CB7. Good to hear one of the later Hallicrafters in there. They did make some very rare, I occasionally see them come up, but very rare solid state 23-channel radios. Radio 6, Joe on the Robin T123B, the popular radio tonight. Normally it's the Mark III, but I think the 123Bs tonight beat out the Brownings. Radio number 7, the Tram TR27E from Ed, followed by Radio 8 on his Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. We went to another Hallicrafter, Radio 9, the CB3A from 1963, thanks to Jerry. Radio 10 was the Robin T123B from Harvey. Doing a test on that one. Sounded good. Didn't need the range boost to make it in here tonight. Radio 11, Joe on his E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. And we'll be looking forward to see how that sounds when he gets the desk microphonium with an element, or I'd say the proper element, but any element that works in line. See how that works. Radio number 12, Mr. Ed on the R68 T68, the original Browning Golden Eagle. And then a pair of Robins, which generated much Robin comments on the video stream, and I would play some Robin songs, but I cannot play anything that's copyrighted. I cannot play a copyrighted tune. So the next best thing would be to, bring out the fiddle and do some live music. And I don't think there'd be any copyright infringements on that. But the only problem would be that there would be no one left listening at the end of the program here, more so than there already are. So the Robin T123 and the T123B for radios at 13 and 14, thanks to SWL 47. So with that said, I am still decked out in the summer luau outfit, ready to head over into the ever-changing and repurposed green room. What is that? Oh, that's the light on the other computer here. And I'll go see if they have more than popcorn left for us tonight. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Fodex for the Nixie tubes and keeping all that stuff running. And of course, thanks to I tried oiling. I tried putting some. Actually, it was silicone something in the Heil mic boom, and I still didn't quite get it right tonight. So good night, everybody. All you fathers out there, have a good Father's Day tomorrow and a good day to remember your fathers. And we will be back next Sunday with radios of all colors, whether they be green or whatnot. Good night to our SWLs that are still listening wherever they might be. Still got some people in California, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and others that don't show up because they're over on the YouTube page as well. So good night, everybody. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. And let's see, get on the air wherever you are, regardless of what type of radio you have. If you're looking forward to upgrading to a ham license, keep working on that, because again, we are starting cycle 25. Things are just going to be getting better for the next 5 years. A perfect time to jump in and get into stuff. So don't get discouraged. Get in there and do that and shoot some skip. Maybe we'll hear you somewhere. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Dennis, and happy Father's Day to you.
And thank you to Bozo Control.
Let's see if Bozo can break the orb in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, see how it takes my voice down? Because it's that piercing proboscis scream. This does a bad thing. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, Dennis.
And Ray says cycle 25 is alive. If you've got the antenna, see right now at the bottom of the cycle, the antenna is where it's at. So that is to say you've got a good antenna or you've got a good location for antenna elevation. So the bands are open. Like I said earlier, when the band was open here on 11, I went up to the 10-meter beacons and somebody in Washington at 1.5 watts. And just S7, S8 signal, really good for 1.5 watts. So things are going on out there, and it's going to get better. You know what that means? That means it's in about 3 years, when we're checking in SWLs at the beginning of the program, it's going to be a big mess. But we've been doing this for 35 years, and we've been there before. But it may be fun later on when we talk to stations from near and far out. Good night, everybody. As they say, 72 plus 1. And there's that skip land already. All right, let me quickly jump over. Oh. Jump over at 10 meters here. Let's see if we've got any. Wow, see, there's the one in Central California. It's coming in good tonight. That's the FRC. So that's the one. If you're out of California, that's one you want to be listening for at 28,300. I'm surprised I can hear that ground wave. Some birdies. There's got to be somebody. I can't believe it. My wimpy antenna. My wimpy antenna's picking up nothing. Let's see if we got any AM guys. They're there, but the band is super noisy. And that's because I'm using the Starduster. Put a wire up in the air and they sound good. Kind of noisy tonight. There's some stations at 72.25 on 40 meters. Stations are in the background, so. Yeah, those guys are loud. 72.25.
From time to time is usually after eating, maybe like 30 minutes after eating. I'll be sitting down watching television, and all of a sudden everything will go very intensely white. The television screen will get really, really bright to my eye. In other words, I'm getting really sensitive to light.
There's some stations, 3860. So the bands are open. All right. So we can't get those 10-meter beacons. Good night, everybody. From your old Tube Radio Network. Such that it is.
I'm going to dig into that. That is weird.
This is the weird frequency.
Talking about our diseases and pills.
What else are we supposed to do on amateur radio?
Northeast weather storms are predicted for the next 24 hours. At the time, 5 hours, 36 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time.
At the tone, 5 hours, 40